A couple of weeks ago, news came out that Betty Lynn, who played Thelma on the Andy Griffith Show, Barney's girlfriend for many years on the Andy Griffith Show, had passed away. She was one of the last remaining adult characters from the Andy Griffith Show to leave us. Betty Lynn had been an actress for many years. She played on the Andy Griffith Show and then had other roles as well. But later in life, she decided to move to Mount Airy, North Carolina. And there she became friends with the people there in town and would often go to the Andy Griffith Museum and sit and sign autographs for people, tell stories about the show, and meet with people. She became a good friend of the people of Mount Airy and of everyone who was a fan of the Andy Griffith Show. It's sad to see the last of some of the leading characters of that show pass away. It's hard for us to understand because those characters, to many of us, seemed like family, and we miss them. Death is hard to understand. It brings challenges to our life. And we often, upon losing a loved one or a friend, ask the question as to what it all means. It's interesting when we think about that, to think about what the lesson of the Andy Griffith Show really was for many of us. The Andy Griffith Show focused on relationships, on friendships that people had with family, friends, and neighbors, on sacrificing for each other, and then once in a while, sitting together on the front porch and just sharing a cool summer evening, perhaps with some music or with stories, or just sitting still together in the quiet. Something special about those relationships that continues to draw people to the Andy Griffith Show 60 years after the show premiered. And I believe that show struck a nerve because it was on to something. It was on to the fact that love and the relationships of love that we have with each other points us beyond the limits of this world. There's something we find in our loving relationships with family, friends, neighbors, and even strangers that tells us that this world is not all there is, that there is something beyond this world, a new life, where love finds its fulfillment. Now, the Andy Griffith Show didn't get into the meaning of death, but it did talk about the power of love. And by doing that, it invited us to consider that love is stronger than even death itself. That's what the resurrection of Jesus is really all about in the end. It teaches us that the love that God had for Jesus, the love that Jesus had for God, and the love that they had for all of us is able to overcome death. And it invites us to trust in the power of that love. I guess when we think about Andy and Aunt Bee and Opie and Barney and Gomer sitting together on the front porch on the Andy Griffith Show, sharing the joy of a day together, we really do touch something that helps us deal with us when we are facing death.